There is something wrong with the desert temple. If you watched my last video, you'll probably know that there's a secret. But I forgot. Well, I guess I didn't really forget, but I just didn't know that about suspicious sand. Basically, how it works is when you use a brush on a block, it basically turns into an artifact that you discover, and it only works on this suspicious sand, and you could probably tell, but for some reason I couldn't see it. Might have been obvious, but you could like see some stuff that was just so obvious. So then, you might think again, does this something have to deal with the desert temple? Because now that we think about it even farther, we could reveal some crazy secrets that we didn't know. Like, how is this desert temple built? Or who did it rule by? Or who lived here? And also, how long was it here for? We can get these crazy answers from only the clues we have. It's crazy. Just think about it. Just imagine how crazy it could be. Mojang is gone insane because he realized they're giving secrets that you completely missed. And it's only insane because Mojang is hiding stuff from us. So that means we miss out on stuff that have existed for a very long time that we didn't know about until today. That's right, I'll be going over the secrets with you guys. And let's get into it. So you probably already know now because there's a secret room here, but we need to ask ourselves this question. Who built this temple? Well, I guess every temple. So, the first thing that comes to mind, and that's the villagers. Yep. And it's not just a village. It's a sandy village. You know why? Because there's something wrong with this. You know why? Because sand villages just feel ancient, like a civilization that existed a really long time ago. And it's like in the past, and then they find trees, so they gather wood to build better houses that are not made of sand. Because what they've been living in is hard grains of sand that's basically rock, and also maybe artifacts. And what they've been doing is they have been living in these houses made of sand, literal sand. So they've been all sandy. So they wear these clothes, these weird clothes to help protect them because it's very long ago. They would have bad clothes. But you might remember something. It's always important that some sort of ancient structure has to have a ruler, some sort of king. And when you think of it, that's hard. But the village rulers is an iron golem, so that doesn't make any sense. Like, how could that be? Just an iron golem? Because it doesn't sound good for a ruler. We'll have to go with something else, even though it's the villager's ruler. It protects them. But a king has protectors that obeys the king, not protects them. So he's probably just a protector of the king who's protector of the villagers. Because guards have to protect the people. But there's their own rules and laws they have to follow, or they could lead to consequences. And when we think of it, the warden! You know why? Just think about it. It's basically the only ruler. And a thing about it, there's ancient cities. They're very ancient. And the thing about it is, if you just pay attention very carefully, and you might get it. An ancient structure, so ancient. Ancient cities are ancient because it has a word in it. You just have to know it had to be an ancient city because they spawn under snowy mountains. And if you notice, you see those weird big like mountain rocks in the desert, which is strange, but they're just different. They're not made of sand, and they're both like mountains, and it just gets weird because it doesn't make any sense. Because if you think about it, they kind of match together, and to think about it, that's why they're rare, because they're ancient things that you will never really see because of how rare they are. Yes. And that's crazy because it's something that just makes you go bonkers. Like your mind is blown and you don't know what to do next. Because it's ancient. Because it happened a really long time ago. Like, you probably know how the dinosaurs died. Well, maybe not. Because it's something hard to learn. But you learn it from the people. That's why they're scientists. That's why they exist to this very single day. Because we're learning about stuff. And they're discovering more things. Because that's why scientists are being good to us. They're doing their job to earn money. Imagine what money looked like. What it looked like, because maybe there wasn't money. But then you would think about it, because that's something to discover. We're learning more things along the way. That's why we learn them. Because, once again, that's why we have scientists. And back to business. Enough with the scientist thing. And if you think about it even more, why, may you ask? Well, the answer is quite simple. Because, like, there can be nothing without a ruler. Just like the government. He's like the ruler of, like a country. Because, just like America. Well, I guess. Because, you're probably going to ask me, how does it have to deal with the government? Well, thanks for asking, if you did. Because the answer is really simple. Because all you need is a timeline. And logic. And the thing is that comes in is the first thing is trade. Because it depends on fairness and how good the item is. Because, say you traded $5 for 100 gold, because that'll be bad for the other person, because 100 gold is like tons more than even 10 gold. Or maybe 1,000, because, like, if you think of it, because gold is rare. It's found in caves. Like, maybe even one diamond is worth more than 10,000 gold. Which is crazy to think about. Just how crazy stuff can be if it's worth. And if you're just doing $5 for 100 gold, that's not fair for the person. Because they're just getting stuff that's not as good as the item you're getting. Because you're trading out a worse item for a better item. And they're trading out a better item for a worse item. Because that doesn't make any sense. Because why would they want just a worse item just to give you a better item? That's where it comes in with the government. He created the rules, the laws, keep everyone safe. There were even laws way back then, even in the ancient times. You know why? Because it's obvious. He wanted to protect people, and they may seem like there were laws that would actually kill you if you disobey them. And that just sounds bad because it might say, because you probably just heard from me, aren't they supposed to protect you, not hurt you? Well, the answer is quite simple because, say, you just, this is probably very maybe illegal. Like, you hurt someone on purpose. You try to hurt them, and your punishment for that is maybe getting killed. Like, you have to jump in fire, you have to jump in lava because of how rude it was. And you know why? Because it makes sense now, right? Because you did something illegal to them. Now the government has to do something maybe illegal to you. And that doesn't make any sense. Illegal from them. But they're the government. They can't do illegal stuff. Well, maybe they can. Maybe there would have to be a new government. Like, seriously. This doesn't make any sense, does it? And you might think, how could that be the case? Well, obviously, because the government can't be doing that, because that would be just weird, right? And another thing is that you are doing something illegal, and it's their job for getting paid for this. And say you're doing a job, you're stressed. And I'm sure the government is way more stressed than you are because of that. Just literally. And with that, it feels ancient. And with discoveries, maybe there was ancient laws that, had secrets that no one knew about. Or maybe they did stuff differently. Like the Titanic sinking. It was ancient that shocked the world of it sinking. It was just crazy. They made a movie about it. They've made books about it. And literally, basically everyone knows about the sinking of the Titanic. We all know it happened in 1912. And the main movie has Jack and Rose who try to survive on the Titanic because they're going to America. Yeah. Because, yeah. And back then, because the people had to obey the ruler, because if they didn't, they would have punishments, just like how it works with the government. So the ruler is just a government back then, an ancient government. So we had government back then, which is crazy to think about. And now that we have that solved with who has built the temple, now we need to move on to the next question. What's the purpose of this room? Well, now that you think about it, the first thing you notice is the sand. The first thing you might think is maybe a secret doorway, but you notice there's nothing. And the second thing you might think, maybe it's a secret mine way. That's what you might think next. But then, you reach the end. You see sand, then you see the exit. It doesn't make any sense. Then you try the other ways. It doesn't work either. And then the last one you try, it also gets you out. So then what could this actually be? It doesn't make any sense, does it? Well, I have one solution for this. and it was a mining area. There were ancient miners who went down to mine to get loot, and they had to do shoveling all day. That's why you find suspicious sand in here, because they discovered artifacts. But they created this room to make it feel better, like with areas of artifacts to show it to their people and showing the ruler what they found to give him respect of what he wants, because he wants to find what is under the ground. And with that, they decide they don't want it anymore. They want to keep it a secret because they just obey their ruler. They and their ruler says, just keep this a secret. Tell no one about this. Hide it from anyone else's view because enemies will come and steal the artifacts. So they would bury it back in the sand and bury up the room to make sure no one finds it again. But then here we are finding the secret room that has been ancient for very long. Now we need to figure out how ancient this is, or how old this is. Now that we figured out what the room is, well, the first thing you know, it must be millions of years ago, or just maybe 200 years ago, 300, maybe. Because, you know why? It's because it's old. It's ancient. Why would it be called a desert temple? It's ancient. It's got ancient things. That's why there's a booby trap. It's protecting its loot. The loot that they hide to keep it a secret. To obey the ruler of the temple. And then the temple was abandoned because everyone died. The king's dead. And he is laying in this temple somewhere that we don't know, but we're yet to seek out someday. Even though we might not, it's how it works. But that's why they have this. They're obeying the gods now. They want to show respect for the king even when he's dead. Their ruler lying beneath the sand, and they might just abandon it because they have no ruler to obey. So they just quit. And because of that, they leave the temple with nothing to do. And the king, still under the sand, we might find him someday. The ruler, same with every desert temple you stumble across. Remember, it's more ancient than you are thinking. Because there's obviously a booby trap, but it seems like the only booby trap. Most places have multiple booby traps, but the thing is, they didn't expect to attack at all. So the people only thought of one booby trap because they thought, hey, let's protect the temple. But they realized enemies wouldn't come. And then in the future, they thought it would happen again, but they didn't want to make more booby traps. So they decided, hey, why don't we just, just hide the artifacts instead? Well, that makes more sense when you think about it. Because seems just right. You know? Because, like, they got nothing to do. Like, seriously. And now it gets even more confusing. One booby trap. But the temples in the jungle, they have multiple. And maybe there's a dark secret about that temple too. Lying beneath. And yeah, 'cause it's so secret that you don't know.